Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Is this game making me lose my hair? Okay, let's try that again. Hey everyone, Sly47 here. Welcome back to Push Yourself. Today I guess I will be your geriatric guide to staying alive longer and taking less damage. So let's just jump right into it without pulling any muscles. Now, how to stay alive longer in this game and take less damage is incredibly important, but we have to follow something of basic strategy within most games. And what it is intel. In order to survive longer, you need to have the intel to make the right decisions. And one of my first things that I try to teach anyone who's learning this game, the 5-second rule. Check your minimap about every 5 seconds. If you've been to driver's training or anything like that, typically they say 2 seconds. But the main thing is to look at your minimap, because if you don't check it every now and then, you might be surprised when this happens and you get a DD behind you that just literally gets to enjoy a full salvo of torpedoes on you, and you're shocked that they're there, when in reality, if you would have checked your minimap, you would have known they were there and you could have adjusted correctly and taken less damage from that. Even if it lowers your damage output, you want to keep your guns in the game. So look at that minimap occasionally. Focus on just checking it, just occasionally, okay? And you will live longer, I promise, because intel is important in this game, and knowing where people are and knowing how to turn your ship in the right way is exceptionally important.
Nani? What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
With all the intel from the 5-second rule, you're going to be slugging it out at max range a lot of the time in this game. So one thing that will help allow you to use dispersion of the enemy to your advantage is constantly shifting that rudder back and forth. Make sure this thing keeps on going from left to right to left to right to left to right. You do not want to keep this going in a straight line. That is how you just straight up run into torpedoes and get full broadside hits and allow people to farm damage off you. Especially when what you can is you can turn into the shot in order to use their dispersion against them, but then you can turn your ship out to get the maximum amount of firepower out at one time when you fire at them. And if they're not doing this, then you're going to be able to win just because their dispersion is going to work against them and not do as much damage to them. So seriously, keep that rudder shifting consistently and you will stay alive a lot longer to win a lot more fights. So with the intel we have from the 5-second rule and your rudder constantly shifting, the next thing you need to learn how to do is embrace the torpedoes. So when you see a DD launching off at you, make sure to turn into them. On average, you will take less torpedoes, period. Turning out from them will just let you take the entire torpedo spread because you turn out and give a larger profile. So make sure you're constantly shifting that rudder, but also when the torpedoes come in, try to show the smallest profile to them. If you're going to take some, turn into them to lower the amount of torpedoes you take.
Target spotted. Torpedoes! We're hit. Hull breached. We're taking on water. Enemy torpedoes spotted. Our team captured the area.
So we've talked a lot about intel, dodging, whatever comes at you, what happens when they hit. And pro tip, because I've seen this so many times, so many people failed this, and just follow this rule. It's very simple unless you're at low health. One fire is fine.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently.
2 fires isn't. A flood totally isn't. Only repair your ship and remove these statuses when you have 2 fires and or a flood. Why? Because they're starting to do a lot more damage. 1 fire is not that bad. You do not need to freak out about a fire happening, especially when a lot of ships, when they start 1 fire, the second fire ain't too far behind. And of course, if you repair immediately, especially with like carriers, they can just hold their fighters, hold their bombers, just wait a little bit. Oh, cool. 10 seconds later, once it's off, send them right back in. Now you're even more in the crap. So highly suggest hold on those repairs. Sometimes that will save you more health later than the damage it's doing right now. Talking about carriers, let's actually talk about how to best utilize your AA to your advantage to just deplane carriers, or at least try to take less damage from them. So first and foremost, band together for AA. If a carrier is actually sending them off one at a time and just feeding you, then just put your AAs together. It's no big deal, because AA in this game only targets one squadron at a time. It is not a multiple squadron situation. But let's say the carrier is a little bit better, knows how to bait with their fighters, and maybe clumps up all their planes in order to drop at a pretty much simultaneous time on you. What you actually want to do is not band together and get too close. What you actually want to do is basically create a Bermuda Triangle. The target ship that's getting hit is actually just going to get their AA baited. It's whatever. They should be working on dodging. The two ships behind you, or even one ship behind you, what they really should be doing is getting their ship in the exact path where those dive bombers are going to drop their bombs and fly right over them. Same thing with the torpedo bombers. You do that and you will burn down a lot more planes and prevent the second ship from getting baited like the first ship is, and allowing you to take down and deplane carriers more often. So be smart about using the AA mechanism. Do not just clump together, especially when you are dealing with a better carrier commander that will bait multiple AAs if they want to, and just kill you if they want to too. So utilize it in a right way, if I can talk, and you'll live a lot longer. So let's talk about it when you're all alone. How are you going to handle a carrier? How are you going to lower the amount of damage you might take from them? So specifically, be perpendicular to dive bombers, because of course they drop their bombs in a ovalish shape, so reducing the amount of cross-sectional area of where they can hit lowers your damage, surprise, surprise. And then embrace torpedo bombers, especially since I taught some carriers last week on how to hit better with their torpedo bombers. It's actually just best to choose a side. Do not let the cross-torque drop get you by just staying in the same position, being like, I'm screwed. So make a decision, dodge as many as you can, but embrace the torpedo bombers just like you would embrace the regular torpedoes. And of course, with dive bombers, if they don't know how to actually increase their chances of hitting and they're just sending them off at you, make sure you're trying to be as perpendicular and give them the least amount of space to hit you. It will lower the amount of damage you take. So these are my fundamentals that you need to learn to live longer in World of Warships Blitz. This list could have been more extensive. I know there's probably a veteran in the comments already below that is saying that I missed this, this, and this, which I'm glad that they are saying, because I want to see what they think in the comments down below. Did I hit it right? Did I miss one? Love to know, because this is all about teaching players to become better, specifically this episode, to live longer in game. We could have gone far more in depth in so many different ways. I could have brought on different CCs and different players that are so much better than I at dodging and weaving and dropping torpedoes, doing more damage, and also using area of denial torpedoes to stay alive longer, all this stuff. But wanted to keep this video short and sweet and easy to the point. So for all those players that are looking to push themselves, write these down. And when you die in a game, look at this. Try to evaluate yourself. Why did you die? What made you die? How could you have played that better? That will help you become a better player overall and help really teach you some good fundamentals, because even I, and I know even some better players than I, still can screw up on these fundamentals because they get cocky, or maybe they're trying to focus on some advanced principle and then letting their fundamentals get rusty. So hopefully you enjoyed this and learned something from it. And if you happen to have liked the video, drop a like on the video. It's free. It's really nice. It helps out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you haven't. Follow on any platform to see the streams. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Special thank you to the Patreon members and also all of the people on Discord that I actually asked and questioned about this series to see exactly if I'm doing this right, if I'm hitting the right notes at the bare minimum. So if you want to join any of those, help support the channel in any way, links are in the link tree down below. Hopefully I'll have an amazing day. Peace.